Hey everybody, I'm Stacey, a licensed designer for Sizzix, and I am here to share with you some of my May collection, but I'm also incorporating some of my product from March. Yes! See, I'm a girl who likes to add and add and add. Of course, I'm a crafter. What would you expect? So my March collection had stamps and dies and stencils, as does my May collection, but I took some of the stamps from my March collection and I added coordinating stencil to them in my May collection. So that means you can do stamping, you can do stenciling, or you can do both of them together. I want to show you how, and today I'm going to be playing with the Stencil and Stamp tool by Sizzix. This is a must-have. Truly, it is a tool that should be in every maker's crafty stash. There is a reason for it, and I can't wait to show you what that reason is. Now, I've got it right here in front of me, and I'm going to be using it as a stenciling tool first, but then I'm going to be using it as a stamping platform, hence the name Stencil and Stamp tool. They're giving you a twofer in one tool, and well, I know something else that you're going to want this for. I can't tell you anything about it, but trust me, get it now because you're going to want it later. So let me play with it and give you an idea of how it works best. Since I'm going to start with a stencil, I'm not going to need to use the lid. And the lid comes up and down so easy. There's no snapping it in place or trying to wiggle it off. It's just easy peasy. So on and off. And when I'm using it as a stamping platform, we're going to come back and incorporate it into the tool. I'm going to put it off to the side for just a minute. And I want to talk to you a little bit about, well, I think I'm going to start with the sticky grid. This is a piece of wonderfulness. If you're a crafter, this makes you happy. It is called sticky grid, and it is like this souped up, amped up Post-it note that holds your paper in place. It's got enough tack so that your paper doesn't move, but not so much tack that when you pull it up, it causes harm to your paper. As you can see, I've been playing with it and inking around it, and that is perfectly fine. You need to change your sticky grid when it's no longer sticky. And how to do that? Well, Sizzix has given you a little nib right there. Just you put your finger in there and pull it right back. Do they sell more sticky grid? Absolutely. You get one with your platform, but later on you're going to want to get another set of 5, and you'll use them as you need them. Don't think you use it once and you throw the sticky grid away. Oh no, it's a multiple use type of thing. So I've got my sticky grid down, and I want to let you know there's 2 nibs right here at the top. Those are very important things. What do? They hold your stencil alignment tool in place when you're storing it. Really important because Sizzix stencils have little holes at the top of them. And when you get your stencil and stamping tool, you look at it and you go, oh, I see 2 little nibs. I see holes in my stencil. That's where I put them. No, this is strictly for storage. It is this little green piece of magic that is going to make your stencils work beautifully, whether you're using a layering stencil or a single stencil like I'm going to be using today. So this is an alignment tool, but it's also a positioner. When I'm using a layering stencil, it aligns my layers up individually and perfectly every time. And same when I'm using a single layer stencil. That way I'm able to lift and look at what I've done without having to try and reposition the paper. No magnets, no washi tape, no Post-it notes. You got the best souped up Post-it note right here. So I'm going to take a piece of paper and I'm going to put it right on down and butt it right on up to my alignment tool. I'm then going to grab my May stencil. Oh my gosh, is it pretty? And as I pull it out, you will see that it has holes right on top. Now the paper I'm using is smaller than the stencil, and you're like, wow, that is one big stencil. Oh, you bet it is, because we can always cut it down, but it's harder to make it a little bit larger, and it had to be the same size as the stamp. And you're like, the stamp is that big? Wahoo kachoo! I know, the stamp is gonna let you do A2, A6, 5x7, mini, slimline. And if the stencil is the same size as the stamp, well, if you're just using the stencil, guess what size cards you can do? Guess what size matting you can do? Guess what size mini album covers you can do? A2, A6, 5x7, mini, slimline. The whole spectrum is open right to you. Now, I do have the 2 holes in my stencil, and I'm putting them right inside the little nibs that are on the green alignment tool. Give a little press, and here it is on top of my paper. The beautiful thing about this is that I can take and start to color, and then I'm able to lift up and look and go, ooh, do I need more color? Do I want to change my color? Do I want to add some color? And without having to think about realigning, I can put it right back down, and it's perfect. Want to see how it works? Let me show you. All right, so I'm going to start with some of my premium dye-based ink from Jacquard, and these are a beautiful ink. Truly they are. They're highly pigmented, and being a dye-based ink, they dry very quickly, but you are able to emboss with them. I'm going to go in and I'm going to add some color. Now this is an alignment tool. It's not a, I'm going to hold your stencil in place forever and ever tool. It's going to align it perfectly, but you always want to have your fingers on your stencil as well. And as you're working down your stencil, you just work your fingers down right along with it. So I'm going to add some color and just blend it on in. I can change the saturation of my color based off of how much pressure I'm putting on my blending tool. I think that's good. So if I wanted to see what I had done, all I have to do is lift it up. Now I could stop there and I could put a die cut over here, a sentiment over here, and just have my stenciled image right here. But I want to go further. And lining it back up, remembering what place I've got it on my alignment guide over here is going to tell you, did I line it up perfectly? Yes, I did. But had I moved it maybe a little bit over, does my stencil line up now? Nope, it sure doesn't. Or maybe I put it all the way down to the bottom. Does my stencil line up now? Nope. Bring it right back up, and it aligns perfectly. The tool allows you to move your stencil all over your paper, so you're not limited. If you're doing a layout and you wanted to add these beautiful dots across the bottom of your layout, you would just move your alignment tool all the way down and start stenciling. But we're doing a card front, so I'm going to move to my next color. And my next color, I think, is going to be, I think I'm going to use Caribbean blue. Now my inks have full re-inkers, and because they're so highly pigmented, a little goes a long way. They are blendable inks. So I'm going to go in, add a little color. Oh my gosh, isn't that so pretty? Caribbean blue is exactly the color it is. And then I'm going to come back with a little bit of yellow to start making my blends. And then I can come back with a little bit softer blue, just to soften my lines out just a little bit. And remember, this is a dye-based ink. And I'm not making mud. I can lift up and I can say, oh yeah, I'm liking that for sure. But I'm not done. I still have more to go. Let's see, what color do I want to use now? Maybe I take a little bit of my cranberry fizz and let's keep filling it on in. So I'm going to go light with my cranberry fizz. Tapping off to desaturate my color and coming in, and I'm going to go a little lighter because then I'm going to build that color. And no mud, no brown. So a little bit lighter, and then come in with my Caribbean blue. A little bit lighter, and kind of blend in and smooth those lines out. And just make my inks make friends with each other. Hey, I'm Caribbean blue. Hey, I'm cranberry fizz. How you doing? So I think that looks good. I think that looks good, yeah. Am I happy? Do I want maybe a little bit darker in my pink? I could go a little bit heavier. And then I'll bring in my very last color. My very last color is going to be Admiral Blue. Come on in, and just a little bit, I'm going to desaturate it just a little bit by tapping off, and come on in and add towards the bottom. And I think I'm going to get it really kind of dark towards the bottom to add some weight to the piece. Really make your eye focus in on all the colors. And you're like, but Stacey, you're getting it on your sticky grid. I know, it's okay, it will be fine. I'm not going to change the sticky grid until it just doesn't stick any longer. What do we think? Maybe just a hair bit more of pink? Cranberry fizz, just a little bit more, just to softly blend in. Just to softly blend in. And I can pick it up and I can look. And it is that moment when you lift the stencil up that it becomes, oh, I did that. And you did. And it was that simple. It all starts with really great stencils, but it also starts with a really great tool. And when something makes you look like a rock star without even trying, I'm a sign me up kind of girl. I'll take that. So when I lift up, okay, that looks beautiful. I love it. It's fab. I love the colors. Everything pops. Let me lift just so you can see off the, look at that. They're bright and they're bold and they're happy. And I could be done right now. Put a sentiment on there, mat this up and call it good. But what fun would that be when you have a matching stamp? Now I'm going to take my tool and I'm going to change from a stenciling tool into a stamping tool. And I'm going to bring that lid right back on over. Click it into place, slip it right down in, and close it. There is a gridded side to the lid and a non-gridded side to the lid. I can feel right now that I have the smooth side facing up. And when I'm stamping, whether it be with a clear stamp or a rubber stamp, I want that smooth side to be the side that faces in. So you should be able to tell that you've got the right side, because if you run your fingers over it, you can hear the grid. But what's the grid for? Well, maybe you're doing something that has lettering or numbers, or you want it to be in a very specific place on your layout or your card or your mini album. Having the grid on top allows you to align your stamps up, whether they need to be a word and you need to have it straight across, or you're doing something on a right angle. So you want that grid to be on top, and you want that smooth side to be what is going to hit the paper. Now let's grab my stamp, and here is the coordinating stamp. You can see the packaging shows the stamp this size. Oh, but wait. Are you ready? Bam! The stamp is an A5 size. So the stamp and the stencil have to be the same size to coordinate. And that is another reason why having this platform is so useful, because I know that my stamps tend to be on the larger side, giving you more creative options, more creativity to play. And the best way to use it is to take the top liner off. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to lay my stamp on it. Now, you do have to look and see, is it this way or is it this way? Because the stencil has a one way and it has another way. You gotta look. Do I have to rotate my stamp? If I layer it this way, I can clearly see that none of my little dots are lining up. The this way is not going with the that way. I need them both to be going in the same direction. So I flip it. Am I lining up now? Oh, looky, looky, I sure am. I can lay it right down. I'm going to close up my tool. And because I have that smooth side here, a little bit of a press, and it's now clinged to my lid. I'm going to bring over a black ink. And let's ink my stamp up. I'm going to keep it right on the platform and just ink it right up. Now you could use Versamark and then throw down embossing powder. You could use a colored ink, absolutely. You could use a glue pad and glitter. How do you want your little dots to look when they're all done? Add my black ink in here. Slip my lid right back on in, lay it down, and give a press. Now, I do little, like I'm making a pastry crust, as if I'm like rolling out a pie dough or pressing it into the tin. But let's be clear, I don't cook. You would like me to make you a card. You do not want to eat my cooking. I know my strengths. That's not it. I'll make you something really pretty, but cooking not so much. So I just go in here and I just give a little press, just like I was doing pie dough, kind of pressing it into the tin. And then I can lift up and I can see my stamped image. Now, if I want it darker, let's say I want that color even bolder in that black. I want it more intense. I can bring my lid right back down. I can ink up all over again. And because this is a perfect stamp positioner, it's going to line up perfectly and it's going to deepen that black. It's going to intensify that black. Or if I had missed a spot, it allows me to fill it in because I haven't moved my paper anywhere. Put it right back into the Stencil and Stamp tool. Close it up, down, press. Making my chicken pot pie? Not really. And open it up, and again, I've now intensified that ink so that when I peel it up, now once I peel it up, I can't go back. I have to be happy with it is the way it is, because trying to realign it again, a little difficult. But I could leave it here. I could come in and add a lighter color of stencil over the whole thing and get rid of the white. I could take my blue and just come in here and very lightly stencil over everything to eliminate the white. I pull it up and it is stunning. A stamp, a stencil, but sold separately. Maybe you are a stamper and you love stamping and you're ready to stamp, but you've never stenciled before, but you have the tool. This is a single layer stencil. What an amazing way to get started. Maybe you're a stencil girl or guy who loves the stenciling, but hasn't really ever stamped before. But you have the tool. This is a great way to try because it works with a product you already have. The stencil is new for May. The stamp launched in March. So if you have the stamp, you're going to visit your local retailer. You're going to say, I want the matching stencil. You're going to visit the Sizzix website to find it available. And if this is the first time you're seeing both of them, well, wahoo kachoo for you. You get both of them at the exact same time. You had to wait for nothing. I think that the colors and the pop are just beautiful. Here, this is just the stencil. Look at that. You could put a sentiment on this. Happy birthday. Give this to a tween, a teen. I don't know anybody who wouldn't love this card. And it's done. We didn't use the stamp at all. Here, we've taken it, and not only have we stamped and stenciled, we took that Versamark and we took that silver embossing powder and we made it glisten. It's magic is what it is. So, if you're a stamper, welcome to stenciling. And if you're a stenciler, welcome to stamping. And for all of you, welcome to my May collection for Sizzix. I am Stacey and I am a licensed designer, and I hope I'm sure we had a great time together. I'll see you next time.